Paul McGuire Grimes, ABC, Minneapolis. Isabella, it was so great finally getting to connect with you. Congratulations on True Detective Night Country. I've seen the first couple of episodes and it's really stunning. So thank you for the time today.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's so nice to like finally kind of get to meet you.
Yes, we have so many like mutual friends, and my husband knows your husband, and it's like this little world colliding. I love it.
It is such a small world, and I love when I'm like, oh my God, he's at Theater Latte Da, and he's like seeing
Yeah,
falsettos. It's so fun.
yeah. I saw Dustin in Hamlet, and it was great. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
just about to start rehearsals for the histories, so he's going back into Shakespeare at the Guthrie in a big way.
yes. Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's no small feat for sure.
Yeah.
Take me through the audition process of working here, doing the Minneapolis theater scene, to then hearing about this opportunity, auditioning for it, and then like actually getting the call that you're going to be in True Detective.
Yeah, it was all kind of crazy. I've felt so lucky that, again, I'm based out here in Minneapolis. I've gotten to do theater out here for a while. I love this community. And kind of all the while, I've been doing self tapes. I have a manager who's based in LA, and so this was one of those I don't even think it was a self tape. I think it was a Zoom with Issa, our director. And I kind of got it out of nowhere. I knew True Detective, so it was like automatically exciting. And then after that initial audition, it was all really fast. And then I got the call that I booked it maybe a week after my first audition. I was at a kickball game over by, I think, Lake Nokomis. I was
Right.
like on the phone with my manager. And yeah, and then I was in Iceland days after that. It was all very fast.
I mean, that sounds really fun, especially knowing like some actors will self-tape, audition, and then go through months of then not hearing, and then another random callback, and then not hearing, and then knowing for you like it just snowballed really fast is really impressive.
Oh yeah, it felt crazy, but it was definitely a fun ride.
Yeah, and you made it work. You have so many just really fantastic scenes with Jodie Foster, who I think is one of the best actresses of our time. What do you take away from sharing scenes with her, so closely with her? What do you learn from her?
Oh my gosh, like so much. And like so much top to bottom, like not only just in like the work that she does on camera, but I feel like I learned so much in just watching how she like acts on set, how she shows up. She's such a lovely, easygoing person to be around, and it feels like she always takes the work seriously enough that she's always prepared, she's always 100% present, but it's never like too intense. Like there's still this awareness that like, we're acting and it's kind of crazy and fun and cool, and I really admired that about her, and I admired that line that she walked. And so I definitely learned that. I think I learned so much just like getting to do a scene with her and then seeing how it looks on the monitor. It like she was one of the first actors I've ever worked with that you get to see that like you can tell she knows exactly what she's doing in a way that you can't see in person. She's
Right.
like one with the camera.
And with her being a director herself, like I'm sure she knows exactly like what her vision would be for the character, but also admiring what Issa wants to bring to this story as well. We're seeing such great Indigenous representation on screen right now, from Killers of the Flower Moon to Marvel's Echo, and now this. What does it mean for you to kind of be a part of that dialogue?
It's all, I feel so grateful, and not only like to get to be part of the show that I'm so proud of the Indigenous story we're telling, but the fact that it is happening at this moment that feels like kind of transcendent. Like when I first started auditioning for things, there was no projects like what's happening right now. There were just no roles like this. There were no like stories like this being told. And so the fact that it feels so abundant right now and it feels like just the beginning is incredibly exciting. And, I wish I could tell like a younger version of myself that like, just give it a few years, like Hollywood's catching up, it's going to happen, and there's good stuff coming.
Absolutely. And, and it's not, and hopefully it's not just a moment, and it is forward progression, even if it seems like sometimes it goes back, or, just as a gay man myself, I see that on screen of like, we're moving forward. Oh, and then maybe we're stepping back, and then we're moving forward. And like, let's just keep this forward momentum going so that it isn't just a moment.
Exactly. Well, it's so interesting because it is like, all these people are like, yeah, all of a sudden these like native stories being told, how like fun and exciting. And it's like, yeah, well, to get here, there's been a lot of Native artists that for a long time, like similar to what you were talking about, like so many LGBTQ artists who have been like putting in the hours. And just the fact that we're just now seeing them doesn't mean that they're not just getting started. They've really geared up for this, and they got like so much ready to come.
Yeah. It seems like there's really good care taken into making sure that there are authentic voices on set so that there is proper representation within True Detective. Do you know kind of what some of those steps were to make sure that your voices, the community's voices were being heard?
Definitely. And I mean, I'm grateful that, a lot of that work started like way, way before I was on board. It was like kind of from the inception. And so much of pre-production was working with the Alaska Advisory Council, who gave like such amazing input. And then two of our producers, Princess and Tognak, who are both from Alaska, they got to be on set with us. And so just so much of like their communities and their voice was in the script, and Issa made so much room for that. And then on a personal level, when I flew into Iceland, like kind of in this whirlwind, the first thing Issa did was brought me to the production office, and we sat down together, and she was like, okay, like, who do you think Leah is? Like, what parts of you are Leah, and what parts of Leah do you recognize? And so she just made such abundant room for so many Indigenous people to kind of have our fingerprints on this.
I love that so much. And like there is room for that collaboration because you want that to be. It's not always great when a writer has such a distinct vision that there's no room then for the actor to kind of shape and meld the character the way that they would hopefully want to. Now that these stories are being told, are you hearing from people in the community like DMing you on Instagram saying, hey, thank you for doing this, I feel seen? Like, what are those reactions been like? I know we've only had technically one episode air at this time, but I'm sure like there's enough of this out there that you can hear about it.
Yeah, it's very humbling. I think I like don't quite know how to like fully, I don't know, deal with it. It does feel like such a huge honor to like be hearing from people that I've grown up with, people that look like me, come from where I come from, and to be seeing part of themselves in this story, and to be able to already tell that this is a story that matters to them and means something to them feels really powerful. And I'm excited. Next weekend on the 28th, I'm going to get to go down to Lower Sioux, which is a reservation about 2 hours southwest of here, and do a screening with the community, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, it's definitely a very special part of it.
Did you, knowing that Issa directed all 6 episodes, did you shoot these in order, and did you get all your scripts up front so like you knew what the mystery was going to be, or when did it like sink into you?
Really? So we shot them out of order, a little bit. There was like a little bit chronological, but most of the time we were bumping in and around. And I think I got the first 3 scripts first, and those were all kind of like locked in, which is unusual because a lot of times there's big changes that happen, but those were like all set, ready to go. So I got those, and we did a table read of all 3 of those. And then I think a little bit later, once we started, I got the rest of the scripts, and I remember reading them and just being like totally blown away. Like I needed some moments of silence alone after to be like, oh my God. It's a wild ride. Issa's made something pretty wild.
I've seen the first 2 so far, so I don't know how it ends, but I'm loving the direction it's going, and it's certainly keeping us on our toes. And then you hear, and I've been trying not to read too many like fan pages or like blogs about like what do we think is going to happen, and then I hear certain things in the dialogue. I'm like, oh, okay, I see how this might be connecting, but like we're gonna see, it's such a great ride. I'm curious, looking back at this whole experience, what did you learn about yourself and kind of the types of projects that you want to take on in the future?
I mean, I felt so grateful that it like really felt like this project was like going to grad school. Like I felt like it was so intense. I was learning so much that I felt like by the end of it, I was just like a totally different actor. And so I'm really just excited moving forward to like kind of flex some more of these muscles. And funnily enough, like the show's so intense, but I still felt like there was a lot of joy in doing it, and joy in being on set with this team. And so part of me is like, I want to do a comedy. Like, I want to do something fun. I want to like really, yeah, flex a kind of a Converse muscle of being like a little more lighthearted and
Right.
joyful.
Yeah. What advice do you have for young actors out there that are going to see this and see you on screen, or maybe seeing, like Lily Gladstone and Alakwa Cox doing their thing? What advice do you have for these young actors out there that like want to be that and be in your position?
I think I've been reflecting on this so much because it's hard not to like be in this moment and be like, man, not so long ago, this all felt impossible. And what I've really been thinking of and been grateful of is, the idea that you really get to do this journey in your own way, like to do this work, to be an actor. There's kind of no right way to do it. And I felt like for so long I was self-conscious about like, oh, do I need to move to LA? Is it okay that I'm still in Minneapolis? Is it okay that I have a theater background? Like, is it okay that I'm like a native person? Like, are any of these things going to get in the way of me doing the work that I'm interested in? And really the truth is like, you just got to do it. You got to be you, and you got to do it how you want to do it. And that's what's going to make you happiest. And so I'm excited for, the next generation of Native artists to kind of, yeah, get to forge their own paths.
Hey, I think you're so spot on about trying to find what your voice is and like, what do you bring to the table, and just go with that. I mean, I think we're always sometimes comparing ourselves to other people or trying to find the specific path. But I think then if you do that, people catch that on you. They don't see that you're authentic. And if they see you just being you, that is what draws you in. I found that in my own, profession, the different things that I do. And it's fascinating. Oh my God, what are you most looking forward to as the season progresses and you start getting feedback online?
I mean, I just like, it's so hard. I'm so excited that it's being released episode by episode, because I think that is the way to watch this show. It's like
My follow-up question.
like it's just like awesome, and I love everyone getting to talk about it during the week. But I want everyone to know. Like, I'm like, it's so good. I like want everyone to know right now, but I have to be patient. So I'm working on that.
Well, I think the weekly release model is good for a show like this because, like you said, it keeps the dialogue going. Where I think sometimes the binge model, you crank through something so fast, and I think we're all guilty of this, and then you forget about it the next day or the next week because you're then moving on to some other show that is next in your queue. Where I like the weekly release, and I have people DMing me like, "What did you think of the first episode? Like, I read this. What do you think on this?" And I'm like, so I don't want to give spoilers, but yeah, like it's good to then think about it. And then not knowing at all where this is going is also part of the fun of it.
There's something nice about like, we're so used to immediate gratification, like, because we've got everything on our phone at all times. So it is nice to like be forced to like have to like really ride it out and sit with some mystery and get our wheels turning and see what our brain thinks is going to happen.
Yeah. Are you still in contact with like Hallie or Jodie or Isa?
Yes, all of them. And it's been so fun that like since we wrapped, like all just like checking in every once in a while, being like, I'm so excited for people to see it. And then getting to all be reunited in LA last week was just fabulous. They're like all the best. And I wish that we could just do a million more seasons all together.
Right. Did you wrap before the strike, or did you have to come back after the strike?
We wrapped like just in time. I think we wrapped in April. And so I think it was like weeks before the writer's strike started. And so we were all like talking about it, like, oh, do you think this is going to happen? What's it going to be like? And then it happened in a big way. But we got really lucky that at least we finished principal photography. So
yeah, and it's releasing like, I mean, as you know, it's like butt cold here right now, so you feel you're part of the like Alaskan wilderness with them frozen in the ice. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that feeling. I mean, not really, but
we watched it the first episode with some friends in a friend's converted garage last weekend with like, so it had like a wood burning stove, so it actually got warm, but it was like, this feels right, like a little like cabin in the woods in Alaska. vibes.
Yeah. As long as you're not like, this is not the fourth dimension that I want to feel as I'm watching. Like this 4D experience right now is not how I want to experience this show.
It's
But as
too
long as
much.
we really had some heat, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
My God. Isabella, so great talking to you. Thank you for the time today. I'm so glad this worked out. And I'm excited to see where this goes. And I hope people just love the entire ride.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for
Thank
having me. This was so
you.
fun.